In Calgary last weekend, I attended the 25th anniversary gala for a Christian dance company named Corbera that I was part of starting and in which I was a dancer and a choreographer and a board member along the way. So it was great to catch up with old friends in a community that means a lot to me. As we chatted about what we were up to dance-wise these days, one friend told me the story of a video she'd seen of a music festival where one lone hippie was up front dancing in front of the stage. People mostly just watched until another brave soul joined the dance. Still, people mostly just watched until eventually a third person went forward to dance to the music. And that was when everything changed. With that third person standing up and standing out of the crowd to dance, the crowd itself shifted. In that moment, many people stood up and surged forward to join the dance. So if you want to change the world, my friend concluded her story, find someone to follow. See, leading is often the focus of our attention in the church and in the world. Leadership training opportunities abound. Books on leadership development are ubiquitous. Many people want control in one way or another in communities of all sizes. But only the brave, or maybe the foolish, are willing to take up leadership, willing to stand up and stand out in the crowd, to endure the watchful gaze of judgment and criticism, to serve or otherwise work towards a better community. And they aren't even the ones who, in the end, change the world. It is the followers. The ones who hear the whispers of judgment in the music festival crowd and who get up to join the dance anyway. It's not the first, it's not even the second one who makes the biggest difference. It's the third. The third person to get up, the second follower, is the one who the crowd actually responds to. If you want to change the world, find someone to follow. Today, on this fourth Sunday of Easter, it is traditionally known as Good Shepherd Sunday. With our embrace of an alternative Easter lectionary, we aren't actually reciting Psalm 23 today, as you were expecting, but we will sing it at the end of our service, so it's going to be okay. We do still have multiple expressions of the sheep-shepherd metaphor that is found throughout the Bible to describe the relationship between God and God's people. We are God's people, Psalm 100 declares, for instance, the sheep of God's pasture. And in our passages from both Ezekiel and John today, we hear stories of shepherds and sheep. The passage from Ezekiel is likely much less familiar than the one from John. The alternative Easter lectionary from which it's been taken was developed to address issues of anti-Semitism that are embedded in our tradition, unfortunately. Traditionally, we've read passages from the book of Acts during the Easter season in place of the Old Testament. And the issue is that the practice implies that the New Testament proclamation of Jesus supersedes the older Hebrew Jewish teachings. And so this alternative lectionary seeks to instead show the continuity of the whole biblical witness. So today, on this Good Shepherd Sunday, we hear a passage from Ezekiel in which sheep and shepherds feature prominently. The shepherds don't come off very well. You shepherds, the prophet beckons, hear the word of the Lord. My sheep have become prey, and my sheep have become food for all the wild animals, since there was no shepherd, and because my shepherds have not searched for my sheep, but the shepherds have fed themselves and have not fed my sheep. God is not pleased with the job that the shepherds have been doing. Therefore, God says, I am against the shepherds, and I will hold them accountable. See, the shepherd's job is to care for the sheep, to feed and water and protect them from predators. In this case, however, the shepherds themselves, it would seem, have become the predators. And so God takes direct action. Now, the context of Ezekiel is one of exile. Written during the Babylonian exile, it's written for a people devastated. The powerful Babylonian Empire marched through Judah, laid siege to Jerusalem, destroyed the temple, and killed or exiled the people out of the land. Ezekiel is not writing for the powerful, therefore, but for the downtrodden and depressed. It is written for the followers of Yahweh, not the leaders. Indeed, the leaders are clearly the failed shepherds who have not done a good job of caring for God's sheep. So it is good news indeed that God promises to take over, to directly care for God's people as their shepherd. I myself will search, God promises. I will rescue them. I will bring them out. I will feed them. It is good news. Jesus' shepherd-sheep metaphor in John's gospel is perhaps a little less harsh, but equally uncompromising. In this part of Jesus' speech, Jesus describes himself not actually as the shepherd, but as the gate or the door. Jesus is the way in and the way out, the boundary between here and there. Going through Jesus, then, is the way for both shepherds and sheep. Bypassing Jesus, on the other hand, jumping the fence, is the way of thieves and bandits. It is the former way, like those disgraced shepherds of old who Ezekiel derides. The way of Jesus, passing through Jesus as the gate, is the way of life, abundant life. It's both very different from Ezekiel and completely consistent, as it reflects on questions of following and leading. Who are the leaders that we follow? What are the qualities of leadership worthy of being followed? The answer in Ezekiel is clear. The good shepherd, the one who rescues and gathers and feeds the sheep, is God. The one we are called to follow is the God of mercy and justice and grace. And so it follows that local leaders, human shepherds worthy to be followed, are those who likewise gather people together from the ends of the earth rather than scattering them asunder. They are those who feed people with good and nourishing food. In John, a shepherd worth following goes through the gate, just like the sheep, not bypassing the way of God shown to us in Jesus in favor of stealing, killing, and destroying. More than trying to be good leaders, the consistent call of God is to follow God's ways, the way of abundant life. So if you want to change the world, find someone to follow, join in the dance, and know the abundance of life.